Good evening, everyone. We're just about to call the meeting to order. And before we do, I'd invite you to stand and join me in the pledge. And then Councilman Mike Overton will bring the invocation.
Let us pray. God, thank you for another beautiful day. Thank you for the multiple blessings that you bestow upon us every day. Be with us now in our deliberations as we strive to be considerate of all concerned. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Mike. And it is a beautiful day, isn't it, in Springdale? So thank you again for being here this evening. And I will call the meeting to order. This is a regular meeting of the Springdale City Council, Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. And our first order of business will be for our city clerk, Saber Jeffus, to call the roll.
Mayor Sprouse?
Here.
Brian Powell?
Here.
Amelia Taldo?
Here.
Jeff Watson? Here. Mike Overton?
Here.
Mike Lawson?
Here.
Aaron Huntley? Randall Harriman?
Here.
Mark Fugerus?
Here.
Ernest Kate?
Here.
All right, thank you. We're almost full. Councilman Huntley contacted us just a few minutes ago, and he's run about just a few minutes late, so he'll be joining us shortly. Item 4 is the agenda item the council sets aside for each regular meeting that allows time for comments from our residents. If we have residents that would like to address the council concerning an item that is not already on tonight's agenda, then you're welcome to come to the microphone. Please clearly state your name and address, and we ask that you keep your comments to no more than 3 minutes. And the council won't take action on anything that you bring forward tonight. So is there anyone that would like to address the council concerning an item that is not already on the agenda tonight? All right. Oh, yes, sir. Come on up, Seth. Absolutely.
Mayor, City Council members, thank you for this opportunity to speak with you tonight. My name is Seth Creed, and I'm running for Circuit Court Judge, Division 2. And I'm going to visit with you all tonight about 2 things. First, I'm going to tell you about who I am as a person, and then I'll talk to you about my legal background. First, who I am as a person. I tell people I'm a value-driven man, and I have 3 core values that form the bedrock of my foundation. 1, I'm a Christian. Being a Christian means that I have a moral compass. It leads the way that I live my life, but more importantly, as it relates to this position, it gives me a backbone to do what is right, no matter what. 2, I'm a family man. My wife and I have 3 young children, and we live by a motto on our refrigerator door that reads, "Our mark on this earth is our children." And it is a daily reminder to me that real life is not about my ego or my legacy, it's about our next generation. 3, I believe in hard work. When I was 10 years old, my father lost his job in a machine shop and immediately went to work and opening up his own machine shop in our red barn out back. And at the age of 10, I went to work for him when the sun was not up. When I was 15, I started working 40-hour work weeks for him during the summer. Fast forward a few years, I was a collegiate athlete where I served as team captain the last 2 years. I played semi-professional soccer where I also served as a captain. I've done an Ironman. And I don't tell you these things for bragging rights, but I believe in the saying, how you do anything is how you do everything. And I will bring that same commitment to the bench. 2, my legal background. First, I tell people I'm a career public servant, and I'm the only public servant in my race. For the last 9 years, I've been with the United States Attorney's Office, where I defend the United States anytime it gets sued, which is often. And I handle the same complex litigation that Division 2 handles. Medical malpractice cases, employment discrimination cases, car wreck cases, excessive force claims against officers. This is what I do on a routine basis. I have represented the United States in front of the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals, which for those that do not know, that is 1 step below the United States Supreme Court. Here recently, I had a 4-day civil jury trial in federal court where I handled the case by myself from inception to the successful verdict. You should demand out of your next circuit court judge someone who has jury trial experience. And not only do I have jury trial experience in civil court, I have it in criminal court. Prior to the U.S. Attorney's Office, I was a state court prosecutor where I had numerous criminal jury trials. I have the reputation for the courtroom, but more importantly, I have the reputation for my character. And I challenge each and every one of you in here to ask around about me until you can find someone that has something bad to say about me. Thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you, Seth. Appreciate you being here and appreciate your willingness to run. Of course, we tell all our folks that come to put your name out there and try and serve your community. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. And you had 3 minutes and you used about 2 and 50 seconds. You did really good. You're good. All right. All right. Any more public comment?
Well, it looks like I got here just in time. My name's Wendy Howerton. I'm running for circuit judge here in Washington, Madison County. I think I know most everybody here, but for everybody out there, it is John Threet's position, and he's announced he's retiring. And I'd just like to come out and say I'd love your vote. Obviously, we're in the middle of early voting right now. One of the things I get asked the most often is, what makes you the right candidate? So what I like to tell everybody is I am the only candidate in this race who's ever had a civil jury trial at state court. That is very important. This is a civil jury trial state court bench. I am the only candidate who's ever ever handled every single type of case that this bench will cover. Also very important, this bench only gets 15% of the family law docket, which is very small, gets 0 criminal, and will never have federal. So get out there, vote. That's a little bit about me. Lived here 25 years, got 4 kids and a husband here. One's in college, 2 are headed to college this next year, and a sweet little 9-year-old who loves campaigning. Very grateful for him. Otherwise, practice here 20 years, like I said. I'm also on the ethics committee, which is probably the short way to say the professional conduct committee, where as attorneys, if they violate those ethics rules, they come in front of 4 panels, and I'm on one of them. Very honored to be the chair of my panel, but I'm already having to handle those really important decisions, whether sometimes that requires a sanction, a reprimand, a warning, or sometimes a disbarment proceeding for attorneys that have taken advantage of their client and or harmed the community. So I get to protect you all from that. Believe in your constitutional rights. I protect everybody right now on a case where I represent every taxpayer to regain our taxes that were misused. Little about me. Please find out more. Love your vote, March 3rd.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here as well. All right, anyone else? All right, then we will move on to item 5, the approval of minutes. Council, you've had an opportunity to look those over. If there are no changes or additions, I'd entertain a motion to approve them as presented.
So moved.
Second.
You have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, thank you for that. And I'm going to turn item 6 over to our city attorney, Ernest Cate.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 11B on the agenda is an ordinance dealing with sanitary sewer rates, and the state statute requires that a public hearing be held before that ordinance can be taken up. And the city clerk has published notice of the hearing as required by statute. Is there anyone here that wishes to be heard on this issue? If not, we'll close the public hearing. We'll take this up as item 11B on the agenda.
Thank you, Ernest. We're at item 7, procedural motions. What's your pleasure, council?
Move for A and B.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for A and B. And I'm ready to call for the vote.
Carries 8-0.
All right, thank you. Item 8, appointments and reappointments. I'll just go ahead and read both of these resolutions as we take action. Item 8A is a resolution reappointing Eddie Chancellor to the Springdale Water and Sewer Commission. Sorry. That was my timer. I do actually time. Yeah, and they both did great.
Move resolution pass. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Anyone here to speak on this? I don't know if I didn't see Eddie here tonight. All right. Then I'll call for the vote.
Carries 7-1.
All right, thank you. And item 8B is a resolution for the appointment of Matthew Philpott to the Springdale Planning Commission.
Move resolution pass. Second.
We got a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Any other comments or questions? I see Matthew's here. Thanks for being here, Matt. This is to fill Garrett Harlan's seat on the Planning Commission. So appreciate your willingness to serve, Matt.
Narrow shoes.
Yeah. All right. All right, if no other comment, I will call for the vote.
Carries 7-1.
All right, thank you. Item 9, Planning Commission report and recommendations. Sharon Tromberg, Director of Planning and Community Development. Sharon, you said you'd do your best to take it easy on us tonight.
Good. It's not too bad. Good evening, council, mayor. All right, so the first item that we have tonight is a residential rezone off Mountain Road. The title of this reads, "An ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto by rezoning R25-65, certain lands located at 3105 and 3051 Mountain Road, 3410, 2898, and 3334 Cougar Lane, and a tract west of 3105 Mountain Road from an agricultural district to a low-medium density single-family residential district, and declaring an emergency." And the applicants are requesting an SF2 zoning to seek zoning compliance for an informal plat that staff currently has under review. They're doing a property line adjustment to reduce 4 tracts into 2. And right now, the low-density residential fits in with the existing pattern, although the proposed future 612 project will be about half a mile to the north of this.
Move this ordinance be adopted.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. I was just looking. Can you go back to that wider shot?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. All right, thanks. Any other questions or comments? Anyone in the room? All right, call for the vote.
Carries 8-0.
Move the emergency clause be adopted.
We have a motion and a second to, on the emergency clause. Roll call, or call for the vote.
Emergency clause carries 8-0.
All right, thank you.
All right, our second item tonight, this is a rezone for revisions to an existing PUD to Brentwood Village in southeast Springdale. The title of this reads, "An ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto by rezoning R26-04, certain lands located south of East Don Tyson Parkway and east of Hilton Road from a planned unit development to a revised planned unit development and declaring an emergency." And the request for this, it modifies a portion of Phase 1, which was already final platted, to eventually dedicate a floodplain area to the city, and then it also separately plat a monument sign area. And so after they vacate an easement for the sign, you guys will see the plat come. Other project updates that part of this revision is that Phase 3, a preliminary plat, which is more of a townhome style, was approved by Planning Commission. And we should be seeing the final plat for Phase 2 here this spring.
So could you talk about that floodplain area again? Where is that?
Yep, so it's at the very, very north part where you see that FW and FP, that floodplain. So it was just kind of a natural common open space area that was platted with Phase 1. But they are going to replat that and dedicate an area to the city for conservation efforts. And then they're going to have a monument sign at the far west corner near Hilton Road.
What does that mean they're going to dedicate it to the city?
So that is to be, it has not been done yet. We do not have it. That's to be determined. An area of floodplain so that some of Ben's team can help with conservation areas. I don't know what all that entails yet.
What I'm asking, are they deeding it to the city and it's our responsibility from now on?
It will be, if the city accepts it.
Why do we want to do that?
It's in the upper reaches of Clear Creek, and it would be an ideal area to do regional detention and create a wetland up there for stormwater, both quality and quantity. And that's the idea behind it. We do have a CPRG grant that would pay for all of those improvements.
Sure. I understand you're saying there'd be some improvements now, I guess drainage or something. I don't know what that means, improvements, but what about in the future? What's our responsibility in the future?
Well, there are 3 detention ponds in that area now that have been built with individual subdivisions. So we would take those individual berms out and create one larger detention pond. And that detention pond would be a wetland. And so we would be responsible for it, but the only responsibility really is to remove invasive species. Other than that, we're leaving it as natural as we can. So it can clean the stormwater, which helps with cleaning up Clear Creek, which also helps cleaning up Lake Fayetteville. That's the very beginning of Clear Creek. It's one of the tributaries right there.
If Rex was still here, we'd know all about that.
We would. Yeah, this is one of the areas that he was pushing
Right.
for to try and come up with better drainage solutions.
Sharon, does that take away their green space on the PUD, or is that something separate?
It wasn't usable green space, it was additional. They had beyond the minimum, they had more than 20%, so this wasn't really usable anyway. Yeah.
The changes are the dedication of the flood area, something about a sign, what's that mean?
So we have to update the PUD document just to align the development plan with all the changes. So to add a monument sign, they actually want to carve out a new little parcel, so they have to change the lot counts. That parcel has an easement over it, so they're trying to vacate the easement so that they can do that. But all that needs to be reflected in the overall development plan.
And then you said that there was an additional portion that was that's been designed for townhouses?
It was, and that's just an update for you. Phase 3, they changed the lot count a little bit.
Is that a modification from what it came in to begin with?
Correct.
What's the change there?
They added a few more units, townhome styles, as opposed to more of a cottage style.
So they've reduced some of the sizes of the lots, is that correct?
Slightly correct.
But we're not voting on that tonight. We're just
No.
voting on the rezoning.
Yes, it was a preliminary plat that passed. So before the other one would be accepted, it would have to come through here.
I'll move the ordinance be adopted.
Second. We have a motion and a second to adopt the ordinance. Other questions or comments?
I'm sorry, why do we call this a rezoning? If they're changing the PUD plan, it's a rezoning?
It is, so the development plan that just outlines all these details is adopted with the rezone ordinance and filed and recorded all together. So then if there is a change in these kind of details, we need to update it all. It's procedural.
When Randall said we're not voting on that now, I'm not sure I understand what that means. It seems to me like we would be voting on that change to the plan that allows townhouses.
That-
Agree or disagree?
Valid.
So
Agree.
we are
Agree.
voting on it now.
The guidance from the PUD document.
Make those changes, so.
So if there was a change, if this passes and there's a change, it's another revise to the PUD. So anytime the PUD changes whatsoever, it still has to come back.
Correct.
Does it come back through planning before us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? Anyone in the audience need to speak to this? All right, and I'll call for the vote.
Carry 6-2.
Move the emergency clause be adopted.
Okay, call for the vote on the emergency clause.
Emergency clause carries 7-1.
All right. The third rezoning request tonight, this takes us to Oak Grove Road in West Springdale. That's probably the best picture. The title reads, an ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto by rezoning R26-05, certain lands located at 695 Oak Grove Road and north of 695 Oak Grove Road from an agricultural district to a general commercial district and declaring an emergency. And this request is for approximately 2.25 acres. Right now, it's currently undeveloped. It's about 400 feet south of Elm Springs Road. And the C2 lot that is to the west, that fronts Oak Grove Road, that was a computer group office that had an approved large scale in 2023. And so this is partly to add some additional parking in the back. So they need to zone and do a lot line adjustment to be able to add additional.
I'll make a motion that the ordinance pass.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Any other comments or questions? Anyone in the audience? All right, I'll call for the vote.
Carries 8-0. Has an emergency clause.
Move the emergency clause be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the emergency clause. I'll call for the vote.
Carries 8-0.
And Sharon, these emergency clauses are cause of pending action, is that correct?
Correct, correct. All right. The fourth item that we have tonight, this pertains to a rezoning that was approved last fall. The title of this, an ordinance amending ordinance number 6147, which rezoned certain lands from an agricultural district, an A1 to a neighborhood office district, O1, and declaring an emergency. So the original ordinance for this contained an error in the legal description. They requested a split zoning, so the top half of the property was going to be commercial, the southern portion was residential, and the legal descriptions on the ordinances got flipped or duplicated. So the southern was correct. So we caught that error, and this is to correct that.
Move the ordinance pass.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Any comments or questions? Any questions of anyone in the room? Okay, call for the vote.
Carries 8-0.
Emergency clause be adopted.
Second.
Call for the vote on the emergency clause.
Carries 8-0.
All right, thank you. All right, fifth item tonight. So this is a conditional use for an artistic home occupation. The title of this reads, a resolution approving a conditional use, C26-01 for Madam Arkansas at 1700 Ridgecrest Street as set forth in ordinance number 4030. And it's a slight pun, not a misspelling.
So Sharon, have a question on it. You're looking at this picture right here, and it shows the amount of area that they're going to allot that falls into the code. How long or how often is that ever inspected to prove they maintain that and don't take over the whole house for that business?
It's not, as far as I know. For home occupations, they don't actually do an inspection for the business license.
I would just add, on a conditional use, if there's a complaint that someone is operating outside the scope of the conditional use, it can be brought back to Planning Commission to be addressed.
We've done that. So from a site neighborhood perspective, staff does not, that's a layout of where they're going to have the business, but site does not We don't anticipate traffic, parking, or noise, or any other impacts that would be outside of what you would normally expect in a residential neighborhood. The home occupation, it'll remain secondary to the residential use, and the following conditions that are outlined in Article 6 of Chapter 130. No alteration to the outside appearances of the residential structure or provision of a separate outside entrance for the business areas of the residential structure. No outside storage of materials required for the operation of the business. Operated only by the resident members of the household and shall not have any employees, concessionaries, or other form of operator or helper, whether such business is conducted on the premises or off the premises. Require the use of an area no greater than 30% of the total heated living space of the residential structure. Generates no traffic, parking, and sewage or water use in excess of what is normal in the residential neighborhood. Will not produce any fumes, odors, noise, or any other offensive effects that are not normal to residential activity. Will not involve accessory buildings. Stock and trade shall not exceed 10% of the floor area of the accessory use. Will not require the construction of a duplicate kitchen or the addition of an existing kitchen. Will not require or cause the consumption on the premises of any food product produced thereon, and will not provide medical treatment, therapeutic massage, or similar activities.
So no signage, they're not going to put a sign out in the yard and nothing like that? And if it's any business, there could be foot traffic business, or is it could be?
There could be an occasional visitor, and what was it? Ridgecrest Street, it does have on-street parking, but whenever the applicant came and presented at Planning Commission, all of it is just her doing the art inside of her house, and she does online sales, so she doesn't anticipate any customers coming.
So why in the world would you need a conditional use to be able to do art in your own home?
Because she wants to be able to have inventory, have an art space, have a business license registered to that address. We have a home office occupation option, but you're not supposed to have any inventory and actually conduct it. It's supposed to be just computer, telephone, mail only.
So what she's proposing is she's just going to do her own artwork, and she hopes to be able to sell it online and mail it out and whatever.
Yes, sir.
Move the resolution be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Other questions or comments? Anyone in the room? Call for the vote.
Carry 7-1.
All right. Okay.
On to the last few. When the screen pops up, the next one that we're going to have is a waiver of street improvements for a proposed car sales. I'll show you a picture at some point. This was actually the site when it comes up. It should be familiar. I think we rezoned it just last month. I don't have a better layout. So right here, just a little north of County Line Road. The title reads, "A resolution approving a waiver, W26-03, of street improvements, drainage, curbs, gutters, sidewalks, and streetlights as set forth in ordinance number 3725 to United Auto Group and connection with L26-04, a large-scale development."
So there's no sidewalks there at all right now?
Correct. There's currently none, and it would require, the master street plan would require a 10-foot sidewalk.
So last time we discussed this, I asked the question about the planned future work along County Line there. And there was a discussion or a comment that we might impede on the south end of that. Is that still correct?
I think so. It looks like the proposed plans may affect the southern portion of this lot. And the recommendation of Planning Commission and what the Planning Commissioners voted for was payment in lieu of.
And they're okay with going ahead and building out, and whatever the city does that might affect that is good with them?
Well, they're asking for the waiver. They're hoping to not have to do any of it. But Planning Commission recommended they pay for it now, and then at a later date, as the city aligns with this project and the details, then it can kind of be all done at once.
Payment in lieu of what? What is it? Payment in lieu of what is what the
The
recommend?
street improvement, so sidewalk, curb gutter.
Along Thompson? Would the city be making changes to Thompson or just to the south end of this property?
Potentially to Thompson. If we move forward with acquiring part of 71, then we'll be in a position to require this.
I think that intersection
Yeah.
will require some work north of county line on Thompson.
It will, because we're raising the elevation of 71 right there because of the vertical curve value. And so, yeah, it will be impacting the very south end of this property, but it will be a city street when that happens. It went through the Highway Commission February meeting, they approved that, and so we're just waiting for that swap to actually happen.
And that's the project that we got the
And we also got $7 million.
$7 million for, yeah,
In
from
grant money for that.
Congressman Womack, yeah.
Yes.
Well, what are they wanting to waive? The sidewalks is one thing. What else?
Curb, gutter, street light.
What would be a requirement for the streetlights that they normally would have had to have done?
Every 250, 300 feet.
Yeah, 250 to
Typical.
300, to 300 feet, and I forget the lumens. It's 16,000 lumens, I think, for each streetlight, and then one at their driveway.
But the car lot itself will have streetlights or lights on it for their vehicles, right?
Yes. Inside their parking lot and development.
So to clarify, when we do county road, do you think, if we get the payment in lieu, do you think we'll reach over there and do that sidewalk when we do county line, or?
Yeah, we would add it to the project, and then we would have the sidewalk to the north property line of this property.
That's what I'm confused of. We'd add a sidewalk to the north property. Well, what about along Thompson? That's what they're asking to waive is Thompson.
No, that's what I'm saying. We would have sidewalk, we would build sidewalk on the east side of Thompson to their north property line with our project, if they do payment in lieu of.
Which would be option 3 in the
I'll
resolution.
make a motion to approve the resolution, option 3.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second with option 3. Other comments or questions? Anyone in the audience? All right, call for the vote.
Carries 8-0, option 3.
So, Sharon, in the past, there was some concern about monies that were paid into payment in lieu of and just kind of sit there. Have you kind of got a plan on how to keep track of these situations? For example, if we make these improvements that Ben was just talking about, how do you have it marked somewhere that you need to come back and revisit this and say, hey, we got this money that we need to now transfer over to the general fund, or could you tell us how that's going to work?
So I know there's going to be improvement in the process, but I'm actually not directly involved in that process.
I think Colby's got an update on that, Jeff.
Yeah, we've identified all of the companies and the best contact numbers. There's some that we aren't able to get in touch of, so we're gonna have to work with the state on maybe sending that money back to the state.
Colby, I know you've been working, I appreciate that, on the monies in the past, but
Yep.
I'm talking about going forward, how are we going to keep track of it?
Cody is probably the best person to answer that. They get all of the resolutions in the city clerk's office, and Cody will have access to those. And I don't want to speak for him, but I believe he has a process in place to handle that when those come through.
We'll have a much better way to make sure those monies that are paid in lieu of, when there's a project that money needs to be applied to, that we'll know it and apply it. I can't explain that process.
So at some point in the future, can you kind of give us an
Absolutely. Yeah,
explanation?
I've got a financial update coming, and I'll get with Cody, and we'll outline that whole process, and I'll bring that to you.
I think we were more successful in identifying the old ones than I was worried we would be. so. Okay.
Hey, quick question before we move on. Was there a time constraint on that, option 3, with the payment in lieu of? Because we've talked about that in the past.
You mean that we have to build it or give it back? No.
Usually, we do that with a bill, we have a time frame with a bill of assurance rather than payment in lieu. We've already passed payment in lieu, so that's gone.
Okay, just asking a question.
All right. The next waiver. So it's a waiver request for Fellowship Bible Church on Emma Avenue. The title reads, "A resolution approving a waiver, W26-06, of street improvements, drainage, curbs, gutters, sidewalks, and streetlights as set forth in ordinance number 3725 to Fellowship Bible Church in connection with N26-04, a non-large-scale development." And let's see if we have a picture. So they have an addition of a couple buildings that they are adding, but with that development plan, it's triggering street improvements. Right now, there's currently a 5-foot sidewalk along Emma and Campbell. So the waiver request was to leave those conditions as is.
Ben, this won't have any impact on the Pride of Springdale Trail. We've already got bike lanes on the street. Is that going to be the way that stays?
Yeah, we have a cycle track there.
Right.
And because Emma was built so wide in the past, there's too much asphalt there. So if they were actually going to improve this to match our master street plan, they would take the curb and move it closer to the center line. We don't really want that. The only
But we've got
question-
pedestrians and bikes
We've got
accommodated now.
pedestrians
Yeah.
and bikes covered on Emma. The only question would be on Campbell, but there's a 5-foot walk there, which is adequate for most purposes.
Right, okay.
Move resolution past option 1.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Any other comments or questions? Anyone in the audience? All right, call for the vote.
Carries 8-0, option 1.
Thank you. Last one right here. This is a request for a waiver of street improvements down on 412 East. The title of this reads, "A resolution approving a waiver, W26-07, of street improvements, drainage, curbs, gutters, sidewalks, and streetlights as set forth in ordinance number 3725 to Larry Stucco in connection with N26-07, a non-large-scale development." I have a picture here. So they are, I guess it's been a kind of a metal frame for a very long time, since the tornado, the Schmeeding Building down there on East Robinson. So right now, there is a 5-foot sidewalk that exists, and there are a lot of utilities in that area. So their waiver request is to leave the 5, is not upgrade to a 10-foot sidewalk.
Are we going to upgrade to a 10-foot sidewalk in the future?
That's what the master street plan calls for. So ideally, we would like that big of a path on a heavy road.
But there's none anywhere near the area.
And I don't think any near future plans to upgrade and install 10-foot sidewalks down 412 East.
Just so everyone's informed, there is a tunnel going under 412 for the Greenway just west of this. So it's not this property or the next property, but the next property to the west. So it's your call, but I can see where this could become a pedestrian way to get from McDonald's and the gas station to the Greenway. But there would still be gaps admittedly.
There's one big gap that we got.
Yeah.
The airport.
Big airport gap.
Yeah.
But tunnels aren't that common, so when you have a tunnel, I think that's important to know. It's going to be, you see the car lot at the corner of Powell and Robinson? It'll be on their east property line, just east of them.
That'll also come up on item 10B too, by the way, the tunnel.
So planning commission said 8-0 on option 1.
Correct.
And why would we be opposed to option 3, though?
For the payment in lieu of? Because this one will, RDOT plans to retain it. The city has,
It's a state highway.
yeah, it's a state highway, so the city's not going to come in and we wouldn't
So
take
is
that money
I
and keep it
gotcha.
for an RDOT improvement.
that sidewalk pretty much kind of by itself now anyway? At least looking at that picture where we had that picture, you had the, go back to the picture.
Yeah, can we go back to that aerial?
The big one?
So you have the airport to the east, and then looks like vacant lot, some things to the west.
I think, to Ben's point, someday we're going to want to build a sidewalk along the south end of the airport. But
I don't believe there's a sidewalk in front of that building to the west, is there?
I don't think, it's parking, I think. I don't think there's any.
I believe it's a parking lot.
The one directly west of this location or on the corner?
There is a sidewalk in front of it already.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah, that whole, all that concrete has sidewalk in front of it. It's 5 foot, it looks like.
Okay.
I move the resolution pass option 1.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution with option 1. Any other comments or questions?
I just have a quick comment. I would really like for us to kind of take a look at that east sidewalks and maybe consider filling in some at some point. And I don't know when that process is going to take place, but I see a lot of people walking on that stretch, really from Butterfield to 412.
Okay. Any other comments? All right, call for the vote.
Carries 7-1, option 1.
Thank you all.
All right, thank you, Sharon. Item 10, Finance Committee, Chairman Jeff Watson. Jeff?
Thank you, Mayor. We had a couple of items being forwarded to the council from the Finance Committee. Both of them were forwarded recommendation for approval, and I think both of them were for expenditure of funds to acquire property. The first one has to do with property on Sunset Avenue Extension. I'll let Ernest address this. The title to the resolution reads, "A resolution authorizing the expenditure of funds to acquire property from Edgar Hernandez and Alfonso Hernandez for the Sunset Avenue Extension and Powell Street Improvement Project number 23B." Sorry, I don't have to put my glasses on. PS6.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. You're correct. This is a resolution authorizing an additional $3,000 compensation for the easements needed across this property for this project.
Move resolution pass.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Other questions or comments? Anyone? Call for the vote.
Carries 8-0.
Second item is also regarding the expenditure of funds for acquisition on the Sunset Avenue Extension Project. The title to this resolution is "A Resolution Authorizing the Expenditure of Funds to Acquire Property from Fort Worth Partners LLC for the Sunset Avenue Extension and Powell Street Improvement Project, project number 23BPS6.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. This one is south of where the tunnel's coming out on the south side of Robinson. And as I mentioned at Finance Committee, the city's estimate of compensation was $85,000. Property owner had an appraisal conducted, was $113,267. They've offered to accept $102,764 to resolve it. That's an additional $17,764.
We're gonna keep that whole track, I guess? The whole square?
I'm not sure if there's going to be enough left to be developable. It may have to be combined with the parcel to the north in the future if they ever wanted to develop it, is what I would say. But we're just taking the easements at this point. And it's, if you look on red page 52, it's part of a larger parcel. Used to be a warehouse there before the tornado a couple of years ago. But this is where the trail, after the trail goes under the highway, comes back out, and then it curves back to the west, back to Powell Street.
Will they still have a drive over that?
That's a good question.
Or are we buying the drive?
I'd have to look at it to be sure, but I think there's enough room for a drive. You know, there's not a building there right now, it's just an empty slab. So I think whenever they build a new building, we'll figure that out.
Move the resolution be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Other questions or comments? Anyone? Call for the vote.
Carry 7-1. Randall, I'll endeavor to get an answer to your question about that driveway.
Can they have an easement over our easement? Is that how, I don't know if that works.
No. That's actually a really good question, so we'll find out.
Okay. That concludes the Finance Committee. Now we'll move to item 11, Ordinance Committee, and Chairman Mike Lawson. Mike?
Thank you, Mayor. We had two items before us last week. Both were recommended for approval. One of the ordinance has to do with freezing the water rates for seniors. I believe the age was 65. And the second ordinance, basically the same thing on settling for sanitary sewer rates. I'll read the first one. An ordinance amending ordinance number 6022 of the City of Springdale, Arkansas, establishing water rates to be charged by the City of Springdale for other purposes.
Move the ordinance pass.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? Ernest, you might just touch on it real briefly for people who may be watching or weren't at committee.
Yeah, briefly, this would, the ordinance 6022 that the council passed in November of 2024 had the schedule of water rates for the next 5 years, and the next rate increase is scheduled for October of 2026. What this ordinance would do would freeze the minimum 1,000 gallons or less inside the city water rate at the 2025 rate and would not go up on October 1st, 2026. And just as a reminder, since the water department collects the trash bill on the water bill, and there's a senior rate that is applied with the trash contract, anyone who is getting the senior rate on the trash contract will automatically get this rate freeze, and they will not have to apply to get it. And there's a mechanism as set forth in the ordinance for what's required to apply for the rate freeze. That will help a lot of people that, you know, automatically get it. They won't have to apply for it, so.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions?
Did I hear, Ernest, did you say something about 5 years, or was it, this is indefinite?
The rate ordinance that was passed in 2024 had a schedule of rates for the next 5 years. The next rate increase is scheduled for October of 2026, and this would leave the rate at the 2025 rate. In other words, the minimum rate for those 65 and over inside the city would remain at $14.80 per month. It would not go up on October 1st of 2026, and it would stay there, as it states in the ordinance, until such time as the rates may be subsequently established or amended by the city. So it would stay there until you all said otherwise.
Is there a way to make note of that say in 5 years from now, they turn around and do another rate increase or request, that it's an automatic, that it stays there permanent for 65 or older? In other words, do we have to remember to do this each time?
I would think with a new rate structure, it would have to be done over again. But any increases between now and then, over the next, 5 years, would be frozen unless y'all decided otherwise.
Okay.
Hey, Ernest, just for the mechanics of how this works, I don't think I'm on the trash list for a freeze, so so if I contact them and ask to be placed on there, then it's going to work. So I should just contact the trash people, probably?
Water department.
Contact the water department, ask for a freeze on both of them?
Well, if you would ask to be put on the senior rate on the trash contract, once they do that, you will automatically become eligible for the rate freeze on the water and sewer.
So we go through the water department to ask for it for the.
That's my understanding.
For the trash. Yes.
And
So
then
you don't have to ask for the freeze on the
I'm
water.
assuming it takes more than just making a telephone call. Do you have to?
Yeah, you have to show.
Just walk in and let them look at you, it'll work. For me.
My picture.
Actually, I think it's a positive unintended consequence that the way their billing works, that it will automatically freeze for anyone who's on the senior trash rate. So that's a benefit that we didn't know was going to come up, but it came up at the end, so.
Actually, for the record, I don't think I'm on it either. But,
Well, when you and Jeff turn 65, you can do that.
yeah. Okay, any other questions? Did we get a motion and a second on this one, on A? All right, any questions from the audience? Okay, I'll call for the vote.
Carries 6-2.
All right.
All right, we'll move to our second ordinance, which is basically pertaining to the same thing, except it's just sanitary sewer. An ordinance amending ordinance number 6021 of the city of Springdale, Arkansas, establishing setting rates for sanitary sewer service and for other purposes.
Move the ordinance pass.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Other questions or comments? Anyone in the audience? All right, call for the vote.
Carries 6-2.
All right, I'll open up Parks and Rec. I wasn't here for that meeting. Is anybody opposed to me taking it? Or somebody want to take it? We have one item on a resolution adopting the name Spring Creek Trail for the trail between Lake Springdale Trailhead and the AGFC Nature Center, presented by Ben Peters.
Yeah, so the Active Transportation Committee considered names for this section of trail, and the name they've decided to recommend is the Spring Creek Trail, because this trail does happen to go along. It's coincidental with Spring Creek. It goes from the J.B. Hunt Trailhead under Silent Grove Road, along the treatment plant, and then ends on the west side of the Nature Center, right by the Sasquatch Silhouette, if you've ever been back there. Happy to answer any questions.
And you read the title?
Yes.
Move resolution pass.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Any questions from the audience? All right, call for the vote.
Carries 8-0.
All right, thank you. We will move on now to item 13, and I'm going to turn this back over to Ernest.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a resolution setting a hearing date on a petition to abandon a portion of utilities in the city of Springdale, Washington County, Arkansas. As you know, before we can take this up, a public hearing is required. This would set the public hearing for March 24th, 2026, and the city clerk would publish notice of the public hearing as required by the statute.
Move resolution pass.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution setting a hearing date. Any other comments or questions? Anyone? Call for the vote.
Carries 8-0.
All right, move on to item 14. Do we have any comments from council members? How about department heads? I know, Ben, you've got something.
I do have a couple of topics. The first one is we posted the closure of 56th Street from Bob Mills Road north to County Line Road. It is open for everyone who lives there, but we're asking folks who drive through there to find an alternate route. This is the installation of a 48-inch water line right down the middle of the existing road. It's kind of hard to keep the existing road open when that's happening. So there is a gravel bypass road on either side that we will get people in and out of. So we're asking for patience. The length of time for that is from now until April of 2027. So it's one of our longest closures. Just wanted to let everyone know about that and make sure that I answered any of your questions if you had any.
Talk about the construction of the gravel, the temporary gravel road, and also that you mentioned to me, they won't be traveling that whole length of gravel road, the whole project.
That's right. It's a dynamic closure in that there'll be gravel road where the water line's being constructed and where the distribution lines are being constructed. And then as that moves on, the road will be constructed, and so they'll be able to drive on pavement or base prepared for pavement. So it won't be like the entire length of that is driving on gravel the whole time. And we do have some money in the contract to be able to pave it, but we don't want to pave it now because we're going to cut it up with all the distribution lines. And so we'll be driving on gravel for a while. We'll get it paved as quickly as we can, just for cleanliness and those not having to maintain potholes.
And this gravel will have good base and be,
It's got a couple of feet of hillside under it, and then it's got a gravel cap. So yeah, it won't be like we're driving down an old county road. This will be better than that.
okay, good. Just in case you all get some calls, because we got a few after
Yeah, there
that
were
was
some
posted.
concerns.
Will there be any changes to Bob Mills after the project's done? Is it,
No, Bob Mills just got overlaid with the overlay project this year. And so when it's done, it will tee in rather than have a curve. The main road will be Gene George, and Bob Mills will intersect into it.
Be a stoplight at Bob, or a stop sign at Bob
Stop
Mills.
sign on Bob
Yeah.
Mills.
We can go, that's on our website, isn't it? Are the plans for that on our website? If not, we could send you that so you can
If
see.
they're not, they soon will be.
Yeah.
I think they are.
Yeah, I think so too.
And then the second subject is, in May of 2024, we were notified that we were awarded a Safe Streets for All grant to build Dean's Trail from Don Tyson Parkway to Lake Fayetteville. That grant went under review for almost a couple of years. We just found out last week that that is going to move forward, and we are going to actually get a grant agreement. So the next council committee, you'll see that resolution.
And what was the amount of that grant?
$5 million.
5 million. Yeah.
Yep.
We've done very, very well on grants. Well, we'll put all that together and talk to you all about that. And staff's worked hard. The decision or the approval to hire Merchant McIntyre and DC has been a very, very positive for us as well. But staff's doing a great job on getting grants. We'll talk more about that at another time. Yeah. Anybody, thank you, sir. Any other department heads? City attorney?
No, sir.
I have nothing.
So moved.
We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.